This is the Conrad Alert. Civil defense information will be broadcast at 6:40.
West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Y2K, how can we prepare?
Stop a few of their machines and radios. Throw them into darkness for a few hours.
We are fighting for our lives. My family must survive.
For 5 years, 1,000 gallons of gas, air filtration, water filtration.
Coming at you from the frozen tundra that is East Central Alberta, Canada, streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Telegram, Rumble, Twitter, and Odyssey. Welcome back to the workshop where we create community, find freedom, promote preparedness, and share success. I am Toolman Tim. This is Mrs Toolman Tim, and today is February 17th, 2023. This is episode 250, I almost said 500. I don't know where 500 came from. 257 of the Workshop podcast. And I see Byron in the comments, and I see Erin from Two Chicks Homestead. She said, "Evening, cooks. How are you?" We have had one hell of a day, haven't we? It's been busy. We're running around like idiots, haven't we?
Yeah, it's been a busy day.
It's been a day. Yeah, I rushed over at 5 o'clock this evening to help tear apart the daycare because we're having flooring laid. This weekend's one of those made up long weekends in Canada called Family Day. So we get 3 days off to get, we're not doing the flooring, are we?
Nope.
No, it's beautiful. But yeah, it's been a day. It's been a good day though. Beautiful weather, and I've assembled a bunch of furniture for you. And now we're going to sit down, chill out, and talk about The Last of Us episode 5. So
yeah, and I completely forgot. And
yes, that's right. Yeah, it's okay. I was on messaging. I call you about 45 minutes ago. I'm like, "Hey, what are you up to?" "Oh, yeah, I'm just having fun, chilling, whatever, having 10 or 12 drinks." And then
I wish.
And then like 40 minutes later, "Where's Mama Bear? She's not here." I message her and I'm like, "What are you doing?" "Oh, I'm just chilling." I'm like, oh, yep, time for the live stream. So here we are.
Yeah.
I love you, sweetie. Did you get a chance to watch the show a second time or just once?
Didn't.
That's okay. I only got to watch it half of a second time, so we did good. But I got lots of notes, and it's a pretty good episode. So anybody out there, any of your thoughts as we're going along, feel free to share them. We have passed the halfway point of The Last of Us, which is kind of sad. It means we're technically on the downhill slide, doesn't it?
Well, there's going to be a season 2. But...
Sure. Is it going to be as good? I don't know. We'll talk about that later. Yeah. But we've hit 5 episodes. We got 4 left, which isn't bad. The preview for next week looks like Joel's going to meet back up with Tommy, so that's okay. And this episode was released on Friday, basically due to the Super Bowl. Now we never watched it till Monday, did we? So it never really mattered. So we ended up, because you were away for the weekend, weren't you?
I was,
anyway, that was fine. But so the show come out early, and Erin says, "I definitely have some questions in this episode, but we'll wait until we get to that point." Hey, no worries. Throw them out as we go. So this was a 2-part episode, kind of. What I really love about the show so far, and I mean, there's so much I want to talk about, some of the aspects of how they've incorporated the video game. But one of the cool things, of course, is the video game is a road trip. The TV show is a road trip. And what they do is they have these individual missions or stories that they tie together with this road trip. And I love it because they're all these self-contained, highly entertaining stories that are wrapped together with the road trip. Hey, It's been fun. This Kathleen, the psycho bitch that's the local leader of the resistance there that is a sociopath. She's interesting. It's a cool way of doing it. I see my brother-in-law Barrett Bishop said it was good. It was good. I enjoyed it. Yeah. So the show opens up with what they've done so effectively so far is flashbacks. This is what fills in the backstory of the quarantine zone. And it opened up with a ton of just straight violence. Like they were killing people on the streets, eh?
Yeah.
Remember, and they hung, that was in this episode where they hung some people?
Well, it kind of had a Handmaid's Tale.
It did, didn't
kind
it?
Of
yeah.
To it, like where, again, like what little bit of military's left, they think that they're...
Keep going.
Whatever little bit of military's left think that they're God, and that they're justice and executioner all at once, and they think they can run the whole show.
And you know what's funny about that is in these stories, the way they tell them, and they're all, I mean, it's a reflection of real life too, but you have these rebels who want to take things over, and always, but they're no better than the people they replace. If anything, they're, all you're doing is,
well, everything they do is justified to them that they think that they're the good guys.
Sure. But I bet you that, I want to call them Fedra, Hydra, pretty much as bad. I bet you Fedra felt the same way, and that's, I'll bet you, I mean, I don't want to bring Hitler into this, but I'll bet you he thought he was on the right path too.
No, and he did. And that's the problem. Like all these people that run these type of things, like that aren't, like they're organized in the beginning, but then as chaos continues, then eventually you see the crumbling of the government, and then there's actually no more like they're like Big Brother. There's no more of that. So they still have in their brain that they're doing what is right and what is good, but there's nobody there anymore directing them, so they get off a course because then they get taken over by their own hidden agendas and their own paths of what they think is righteous and what isn't, and then all of a sudden you get all these groups and then they all clash. That's basically what it comes down to.
Absolutely. And Chris Dixon says there's always someone that wants to be in control, and they'll fight for that control regardless of the outcome.
And in these type of situations, though, the ones that always want to be in control are the sociopaths.
Absolutely.
Because in their brain, they think what they have in their brain is right. And it doesn't matter how wrong it is, they're right.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, then they find all the basic degenerates to follow them because they don't have anybody, they don't have anything. And then all of a sudden you get the degenerates that, hey, I'll follow you, give me a sandwich. You know what I mean? So, and then all of a sudden you get those people, and those people just don't give a shit about what they do because they're sociopaths. And hey, like this person's giving me sandwiches and they want me to, cut your throat, and they don't care. And that always seems to be the storyline with them, that you get like the sociopath and you get these degenerates, and then all of a sudden they think they're all righteous and high. And it's kind of like, then you get like the Mad Max feel.
Absolutely.
And it's like, it always seems to follow that path.
The people who go toward leadership, the ones in those situations, almost always tend to have evil intentions because they're power hungry. And then Aaron says, and then you add personal battles on top of that, and it makes it even worse. Because that was, the whole idea behind Kathleen was she was mad with power, but she really didn't want to do anything that was for the good of the community. It was her personal revenge, right? Yeah, like a personal agenda. And the problem is that they use that power to get their personal agenda. Absolutely.
And I don't.
That's why communism never worked, right?
Exactly. And you just need somebody that is crazy enough that has resources. And then you'll collect all the degenerates that you want. And
Absolutely.
They will just flock to you. Because most of them don't even have they don't even have their own path. And you can basically tell them anything and they'll just do whatever we want them to, right?
Like Dixon says, he says a sandwich has lots of power. And you're not wrong. If one of my favorite sayings is 9 meals to anarchy, or 3 days. And if you give people who are used to living and eating and being happy 3 days without food, you could talk them into doing just about anything. And some people even we use it as a lot of reference, but even with The Walking Dead, like when Rick met, I can't remember his name. Which one?
The black guy in his...
Oh, Morgan. Oh, Morgan was awesome. Yeah, I love it.
So they saved Rick. But then all of a sudden, Rick took him to the police station, gave him a hot shower, gave him some weapons, and all of a sudden, boom.
Yeah.
They were at Rick's beck and call.
That's a good point. Right? That's a really good illustration, or a good story. Barrett says sheep. And
that's what they are.
Yeah, if you're hungry, you'd eat a sheep. But
no,
I'm just kidding.
They're blind sheep. That's what they are. And you lead them to the pasture, and you lead them with sandwiches, and that's what happens, right? Hot showers.
Yeah, and that you give them, that's really what it comes down to, and then they cut from there. You see this scene in the street where they're hanging people, beating people's heads in with bottles. It's legitimately, I wrote down in my notes, medieval. Like it was nasty. And then you cut to a scene in the prison, or in the local jail, whatever, where Kathleen is threatening her prisoners who were her own people, her own community members who apparently were conspiring with the Fedra people.
And if you've seen the people that were killing them in the streets, and then you look at this Kathleen, and you could tell that in a situation that wasn't like end of the world, she would have nothing to do with any of these type of people.
No, she's using them.
Exactly. Like
I thought that too, through and through. You're right.
And you could tell that they all have nothing in common, and
she would have been hoity-toity, and the rest of them would have been blue-collar grunts. Yep.
Well, no, I don't even think they would have been blue-collar. They probably have been ones sleeping in ditches and on park benches. Right?
That's true.
Because those always seems to be the ones that survive for some reason.
Well, they've lived through it, right?
Exactly. But like you could tell that they would never be associates in another situation. So.
That's true. So Kathleen threatens to kill there's a whole group of, like a family, a whole bunch of people in this prison, threatens to kill him, interrogates him, finally gets the story that Henry and Sam have been helped out by the doctor. So that fills in the backstory of the gentleman that said, "I'm your doctor," in the first episode. But the cool thing was, or what I thought there was some more time between that, but it all happened quick. And, she literally killed the only doctor they had, but I think it's because she was surprised. We find out she didn't know that he was working with Fedra. She said he hid it really, really well. So the guy says, "Well, I'll tell you everything I know." And he said they're hiding in a hideout, but I don't know where it is. And, of course, as soon as she leaves, she just said, "Shoot them. Mm-hmm. Shoot them all." And this is one of the things that I remember telling Becky about it when we watched it. Nobody cares about their damn hearing in the apocalypse, ever. They just walk into a prison, walk into an enclosed jail cell, and start firing off guns. And none of them have any concern for hearing protection. And they talk about Joel having bad hearing, but legit, I mean, it wouldn't take much to put a couple of cotton balls in your ears to help, Well,
they said it's his left side because that's the side he shoots from all the time.
Right. And it was the side he was sleeping on that he didn't hear it either, right?
Yeah.
But so they find, and if you haven't played the game, it is this entire the whole thing is similar, but this 2-episode arc here with Kathleen it was Pittsburgh in the video game, and it's Kansas City in this. Mm-hmm. But the entire thing's lifted right from the game. And the hideout where the boys are, Henry and Sam, with all the paintings and things he does, the drawings, those are there. But what I like about it, he goes in, the doctor says, "Well, let's take stock of what we have." And I had to do a little math here, but he said they had 11 days worth of food. And on their final day, they had a single can of Puritan beef stew. And I looked it up, and it was like 450 calories in the entire can. So if they're counting a can per day, you ain't going to survive very long.
No.
Man, oh man. Yeah. Dixon says that's why Morgan has tinnitus in the Going Home series. So yeah, constant ringing of the ears. And I know if you're in a firefight, you're not going to have time to think about that, but it's just one of them little things. Because if you're ever in an enclosed space, or even possibly shooting out of a vehicle, not that I've ever done that before, but if you ever have, that things ring like nobody's business. So, plug your ears, right? But so they have 11 days, fast forward 10 days. And that's when we kind of bring the story back together. And it shows that the boys are watching Joel and Ellie. They crash, they have the firefight, and they sneak up the stairs, and somehow they manage. I guess they shuffled through that glass, didn't they? Or they? What did they do there?
I think they were watching them right from the beginning. They've seen them putting it down. Right?
Yeah, but that was good. They, I liked how it went, and then you end up finding out that when they woke up, when Henry was pointing his gun at Joel, that it was unloaded. He didn't have any bullets, which, if you go back earlier in the episode when he's talking to the doctor, he says we have no bullets, but you don't clue in. I love how they told this story. They basically told the same story twice from 2 different point of views. It was a lot of, I like that, So there was a really good exchange where Henry's talking to Joel, and he's like, "Listen, I don't want to kill you." He said, "Can we just be friends?" And everything. Joel's like, "Sure, yeah." And he's like, "I don't believe you." And Ellie's like, "It's okay. He always has an asshole voice." Yeah. That was such a great line. I love it. Because he does. He just sounds like an asshole. I don't get it, And he can't be nice.
Well, because he's a 56-year-old man. And
who just climbed 36 steps or sets of stairs.
Yeah, and he's tired, and he's old, and he got basically conned into this, and he doesn't want nothing to do with it.
He's got a goddamn 14-year-old girl who won't shut the hell up. She's every minute. What are we doing? What are we going to do?
Exactly.
And it's not her fault necessarily.
I can't blame him, right?
Yeah. It was. Yeah. I love that the exchange with Ellie and Joel though, because it's true. He does. He's just an old grump ass.
Yeah, he's just a grump, and he's had enough. Right?
He's like, 56. He has the right to have an asshole voice if he wants to. And yeah, Chris Dixon says, and she's so 14 years old. Mm-hmm. Well, what I like about the entire series so far is, Ellie is a bad. So in the video game, you really follow Ellie going from being almost useless to becoming a badass, Mm-hmm. Whereas in here, she kind of shows up with that badassery with her.
Yeah.
But there's all kinds of times where you're reminded that, geez, she's still a kid, right?
Oh,
I know. Yeah, go ahead, baby.
No, it's like she is 14, and like the more you watch it, it's like we've got almost 13-year-old girls, and you watch the show, and like even today, Charlotte was in the office, and Amy said something to her, and she rolled her eyes, and Amy goes, "You know what? I'm going to roll those eyes in the back of your head," right? It's just like the constant eye rolling, and just like all that constant, like the snarkiness and the...
Because they're 14 and they think they know what the whole fucking world's all about, right?
Oh, yes, yeah.
And, I mean, Ellie, but then there's other times when she is interacting with Sam where she just is 100% a little girl again, And then I remember back to when she was in when they go through the sunken hotel where the lobby is, flooded, and she gets spooked a couple times, and then she doesn't know how to swim. And I love how, even though she can be tough, and there's a scene later on in here where she kind of mimics Joel, and I really like it. But even though she can be tough, she's just a little girl sometimes. And it's kind of sad, right? So Chris Dixon says exactly that. The world's worst invention is the teenage girl.
And we have two of them.
So. We've had this. This will be 3 and 4.
Well, I know, but it's been a while. And now we're getting into that.
Aaron says, "Oh my God, that happens here at 9 and 6." Yeah,
it gets worse.
Yeah, it does.
Gets worse. Yeah.
I said all along that if you could just skip around 14.
I'd say 13
to 17, 13 to 17, 13 to 18, depending on, we'd be all set, because that's a miserable cussed age, isn't it?
It's not so bad with boys.
No, it wasn't horrible.
Girls, it
is what it is. Yeah. So, from there, you cut back to Perry and Kathleen. Perry's her number one guy. So I was reading about it, and Perry played the character like he had a thing for Kathleen.
Yeah.
So it's a little obvious, but not completely. But they're talking, and he's like, you know what? We really don't need to waste all this manpower trying to find these kids. We can, we have the entire town cordoned off. They will show up. And of course, she kind of belittles him and makes him feel like a bag of shit. Like, so is this not your priority, Perry? Because if it isn't, I can find somebody who can, and she's just a cunt, isn't she?
Well,
just
she has a personal agenda.
Sure, she does.
And she's using all their resources up, which wasn't necessary, because like when you actually find out why, it's like, oh, really?
I know. And her entire motivation falls apart, and that is probably my biggest problem with this episode. We'll talk about it a little more. Chris Dixon says, "Is Perry the gray-haired dude?" Yeah, he kind of looks like a sexy Santa Claus. You remember that meme from a few years ago?
Yeah, he looks like he kind of looks like a younger version of James. Is it James Elliott? Or no, the cowboy guy.
Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott.
Yes.
Yeah, he kind of looks
he
like
does. Yeah,
a
I
younger
can see
version
that
of
for
him,
sure. Yeah. So from there we end up. So Joel, it kind of cuts back. Aaron says tactical Santa. Yeah, he does look like a tactical Santa. So it makes some jumps back and forth. You have Perry and Kathleen, and they're trying to figure it out. And then they go back to Henry and Joel. And Henry's like, "Hey, I have a plan. We can get out of here. The tunnels." And there's one scene that kind of, I'm like, all right, this is kind of stupid, because it's something only somebody in TV would do. But Henry's like, "Hey, we can go through." And instead of saying the one word tunnels out loud, he points at the little kid who's deaf and he's like, hey, write it out. So for dramatic effect, he writes the word tunnels on the board, you know, and I get it. You're trying to keep the kid involved, but it's one of those things like when you see a character in a show say, follow me. I don't have time to explain. Well, you literally do because
or
I'm
like
following
every
you.
15-year-old kid.
Yes.
15-year-old millennial. I don't have time to explain it, but you need to come see right now.
Yes, it's a bit of a cliche. So anyway, whatever. This was a great episode, but I have to find something to pick at a little bit, right? So they're talking, and he says, hey, you know what we can do? We can sneak out, make sure we're careful. We'll go down in the tunnels, which isn't a subway. It's like service tunnels and stuff. We'll go under the highway, and then we just got to go out through a cul-de-sac, across a hill, and they're safe. Well, that sounds easy, doesn't it? So in there, when you get down underneath the, down in the tunnels, you see a room. Do you remember that room from the video game? I don't know if you do or not.
Vaguely,
but
yeah.
I don't know why I could. Well, I guess because it's the only one that I played in years. But so they go in and it looks like a bit of an underground schoolhouse. And there's a whole backstory behind the character and the family that lives there that they don't share in the show. But it's cool. They have some time to chill and talk. And this is where we finally find out the rest of Sam and Henry's story. But Chris Dixon says Kathleen doesn't stray far from her character in 2.5 Men. Girl is batshit crazy.
She's crazy in
Yellow Jackets.
Yellow Jackets too. Like not batshit, but a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
She has that voice and that face that's like, man, I wouldn't want to cross you because I think you'd slash my tires and smash out all my windows. Like she's So they sit down. He finally fills in Joel. He's like, I was a collaborator, but I need to tell you what happened. And of course, you find out that little Sam had leukemia and he was going to die if Henry couldn't get him the medicine he needed. Apparently, they still had some leukemia medicine 20 years later. I don't know.
Chemotherapy or
I don't know what it was, but whatever. So he's like, you need to give us something in order to get the pills. So what did he do? It was implied that he gave up Kathleen's brother, who was the leader of the resistance, in order to get the pills, which ended up getting killed, which meant Kathleen was on a bitchy rampage to kill them. I don't really know what she planned on doing with them. I assume just shoot them. But.
Well, and the thing is, so like, okay, I totally get he gave them up and everything like that, but honestly, if you are becoming a leader of a resistance, you're automatically signing a death warrant.
Right. Absolutely, because you are. I mean, like, whether it was because of him
whether it was because of him or whether you get caught or whether you're in a battle or whether they find out who you are without him. Like when you sign up for a resistance against military who think they're running the show, you are signing a death warrant.
Yes.
Like, it's just
it's going to happen now.
And like if you go after everybody who ratted him out or was going to come after him and possibly kill him, you can't you did that on your own.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, you already put yourself, you're exactly right. That's like somebody who, it was, Chris Dixon says they went from Kansas City to Nanton, Alberta underground. That's pretty neat. Yes. We'll talk about Nanton in a minute. I had to look it up because I couldn't remember which town it was in, but you do get to see Alberta. Well, you get to see it everywhere, but the, let's see so the cul-de-sac that's in here was filmed in an empty lot next to Alberta Film in Calgary. And this, the underground tunnel area was filmed in an underground warehouse or something they had, which was kind of neat. I really thought that was cool. But a couple of things about the actors. Little Sam, is the guy who played him, is actually deaf. So they put out a casting call for an African-American kid who's deaf. And they were hoping to get 80 people so they'd have 80 to pick from. They got 5.
Okay. Well.
So but he was good. The little boy was good, but I really liked Henry. I thought he was an excellent actor. I should have looked him up some more to see what he did, but I loved his voice. I loved his line delivery. He was just very earnest. Even the ending, of course, which we'll talk about. He just, everything was good about him, Yeah. And who did I say he reminded me of? The young guy from The Walking Dead who ended up getting his face torn apart.
Noah.
Noah, yes. He reminded me a lot of Noah. And just a you know, you could tell he just was looking out for. And do they ever say if Henry and Sam are brothers?
I think they are.
They are? Okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember if they actually, if it was just implied or if it was said, but
no, I think they are.
it was. Okay.
Yeah.
And then one more kind of neat little aside was that Sam in the video game wasn't actually deaf.
Okay.
So they added that just because I was reading about when the two writers got together for the show, they were worried that the relationship between Henry and Sam would be too similar to Joel and Ellie, and they didn't want to kind of take away from that. So they added something to it. And then, of course, the original creator of The Last of Us is like, man, I should have done that to begin with. So I like the little changes. So Aaron said he did say it was his younger brother. So that makes sense. So yeah, the four of them come out the other side into the cul-de-sac. Probably the most frustrating and the most entertaining section of the video game. I don't know if you remember, but
yes.
I died so many times in there.
That sniper.
Oh
right?
my God. So it's very similar, but it's a little different. And I love the changes. It's fun, you know, the changes between the story of the video game and the show. Now in this one, they hop up, and another cliche that I hate, friggin' loudmouth kids. You know, you're walking down a friggin' dark alley in a cul-de-sac where you know there's going to be clickers around, and these kids are shouting to the top of their lungs like, "See, I told you." I'm like, what are you stupid? Like, come on.
It's because they weren't raised.
That's true.
To be careful, right? They just, because if they were raised in Fedra, they wouldn't have to be quiet.
That's true. That's a good point. I just read a post-apocalyptic novel by Jack London, the one who wrote Call of the Wild. It was only 2 hours long. I listened to it today. And the boy's in there. So it takes place 60 years after the Scarlet Death. It goes through and kills everybody.
Okay.
And this is the last guy alive that remembered times before. And he's taking his two grandkids for a walk. And his grandkids are basically feral at this point. They remind me of like Mowgli from the Jungle Book, you know?
Okay.
And that's what it, reminds me of, is they have they don't know any of the social norms anymore, right? And that's the same thing when you're brought up in a different world. So Kathleen, or Aaron wants to know, was the sniper part of Kathleen's crew that just sat there forever until they showed up?
Well, I think Kathleen, they have certain areas where she knows they can get out. And I think she had snipers set up in all the area because they were communicating with each other.
Right.
So,
because Perry said we have the entire city cordoned off, right?
Yeah.
So they had these people, they sent them out there and just said, hey, keep an eye out. And the dude, I don't even know if I don't think he was he might have been part of the rebellion, but he was working for him, but he was old as friggin' dirt. He couldn't see. Yeah. Now, in the video game, it's a bunch of Fedra guys, and it's a Fedra sniper who can shoot really, really well. And you have to, Barrett says not much of a sniper. No, this dude was old as friggin', old as balls.
Yeah.
But in the video game, you spend an inordinate amount of time kind of circumnavigating the cul-de-sac. You go through house to house to house. You kill clickers, you kill Fedra. And I think there was 2 snipers, I believe.
I think so. You had to take both of them.
Yeah, and there's soldiers it's very frustrating. So, of course, they shortened this up, but it was fun because, again, poor Joel. He always does what Joel has to do. He goes into the room. He sneaks up on the old man, who's probably deaf, too. That was the thing. I'm like, the poor guy.
The guy didn't hear him come in at all.
No, he's just shooting away, doing his thing. And,
But, again, he was in a room shooting, so his hearing's probably all messed up.
That's a good point, too, yeah. And so I was reading a couple of articles about this, and they basically, they wrote this character. The reason the guy pulled his gun on Joel was because he figured if he didn't try, Kathleen would have killed him anyway. So, but yes, he was definitely with Kathleen, whether he was part of the group or they just kind of hired him to look out. He was a lookout, and they just, Joel shot him again. And again, less is more in the show. And I really liked how they pulled away and you see Ellie's reaction to the gunshot instead of watching Joel, because you kind of wonder, for a minute she thinks, was it Joel or was it? Yeah. But it's cool. I love that a lot, and, Aaron's reading a book called The Preppers by Dave Larson. It's a Gmail friend. I'm not sure what that means. A family friend for some reason. Google. A family friend who wrote it. Cool. And Barrett says, well, unless he was trying to hold them up till they got there, which
Yeah, no, he was, because
Yeah.
she said we're on our way.
it's just suppressive fire.
Yeah.
I mean, the dude, I don't think he could even see.
Well, like, I don't think it would have mattered if he hit Joel or Ellie. But,
Right.
But you could hear Kathleen over the walkie-talkie say, hold them off until we get there.
Right.
Because she wanted to have the glory of killing 2 kids for some
Yeah,
reason.
because that's
'Cause
just
she's
how
a
she
sociopath.
rolls. Yeah. But
Yeah.
in the video game, it happens during the day, but they decided to do it at night because I thought it was pretty effective.
Yeah.
It was an intense, fun scene. Apparently, I missed this. Now, did you see the little girl zombie or the little girl clicker? I need to go back and watch
The
it.
one that was like ripping people apart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, she had a Blues Clues shirt on.
I didn't notice the shirt.
Yeah, I was like, she wasn't in the video game either, but
Okay.
they added her. And I wish I'd have noticed it because it kind of reminded me of Carol's daughter from The Walking Dead.
Sophia.
Yeah, so they do that a lot, right? But I missed it. We got to go back and try to find that.
But there was
because-
that's the different type of clicker that they were talking about. The one like she rips people. They rip people apart.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and then See, how did I miss the? I must have looked down to write a note or something. But yeah, the little girl's so freaky. So they were very pleased with her. Or was she the one that? She wasn't the one that went into the car, was she? I don't think so. But it
I
doesn't
can't
matter.
remember, but I know she was ripping somebody apart.
Yeah, it was neat. I liked it. And then we got the I can't remember what the dude's name is. He was a bloater. That's the big guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's in the Jeep that Ellie climbed. That okay.
Yeah.
I missed the Blues Clues thing though. So okay. He said that's the one that climbed in the SUV after Ellie. That was pretty intense too in the vehicle. So from there, we got Joel sneaks up in the old dude. He killed them. You pan away and hear the shot, which I loved. I thought that was really cool. And then, of course, who all shows up but Kathleen and all her henchmen. And again, it's the hand of God thing, I say, because they're there. They figure we're stuck. There's nothing they can do. So Henry says, I'll go out and take one for the team and you run. He basically told her to run, right? Or her and Sam to run. And right then I thought it was a really good bookmark or bookend. So if you remember back to when Joel and Ellie were in I think it was the museum, and Tess says, take her and go.
Yeah.
Joel doesn't even say goodbye. He just grabs her and runs, remember? Because he had to do it. Now, in this one, Ellie's laying there. Henry says, take him and go. Ellie says nothing. She just grabs him and runs. And that's the moment I'm like, that little girl's got her balls. She's she's just like Joel now. And I really like that because she that's got to be tough.
Yeah.
Because to survive, you just got to keep going and just do anything and everything that has to happen, right? So it was intense. I enjoyed it. So a little bit about Kathleen's standing there, she's pointing the gun at Henry, and then the hand of God, of course. I always say, because when a writer or the plot wraps itself into a corner, I had a meme the other day where the guy painted himself into a corner, literally. But if they do, you have to bring something in that's not necessarily in the plot. Now, it did pay off because they talked about that. Remember the swelling thing in the ground? So how many clickers came out of the ground?
Oh, I'd say at least 100.
I think so. Yeah, it was insane. And then the big ass dude comes up. I love the bloater. So here's the deal, guys. That's a real dude. He was in real practical makeup. He wore a 100-pound silicone suit. Now they did enhance it with some CGI, but it was a real dude running around on set. It took them, I think they said it was 14 or 15 days to film this entire outfit. And this cul-de-sac scene was the final scene that they filmed at the end of the season. So they saved this for the end. It was all night shoots. So everybody was up they'd start shooting at 9:00 at night and film right through the night. And they had to get permission to turn off street lights for 2 blocks in the area where they were filming.
Oh, man.
So I thought that was kind of cool. But throughout this season, I was also reading about this. There's on average about 150 visual effects per episode. This one had 400. 16 teams of visual effects people working on it. So it was cool. And the guy looked good, didn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. And in the video game, I mean, you see it there. Is it Perry that's shooting him? And the guy, shakes it. Yeah, the bloater shakes it off.
He kind of reminds me of the, do you remember that movie Starship Troopers?
Oh, yes.
And then
I love
they have all those,
Troopers.
and then they have the brain. big guy comes out.
Right. You know who the bloater reminds me of a little bit? Do you remember Mortal Kombat? Do you ever play Mortal Kombat?
Mhm.
Goro, the guy with the 4 arms, great
Yep.
big fat, like muscular dude. He reminds me of him for some reason. I don't know why, but so Joel's it, and then this is where the cinematography, the camera work, and the directing was just spot on, because you've got Joel way up there who can't really do much up in a sniper's hole, and then you got Ellie and Sam running around by the cars. And it was really cool because they bring in these tight shots of both actors. You know, Joel will shoot and then Ellie will look at him, and they don't have to say anything, but they're communicating, you know, and you can tell that they've come a long way from that first conversation they had outside the elevator in the hotel, where he's like, yeah, we're not gonna, you know, we're not talking about this. And then even the previous episode where he calls her cargo, it's like, no, you love her, you know, he loves her, or at least he, you know, because Henry mentions as well that he could tell that Joel was a dad at one time, remember? Because he has, I mean, even though he has an asshole voice, he's got dad eyes, right?
Yeah.
So they escape, and back up a little bit, because Kathleen got her just dessert, or got what she deserved. And another cliche, typical fiction thing, as the kids are running away,
she holds a gun to them and then hesitates, and then she gets killed.
Yes. She steps out. She's like, wait a minute, kids. And she so she stands there and tells them why she hates them so much, as the bloater comes up and tears her apart. It was fucking awesome. I loved it.
You're like, you wanted them dead so bad, it's not something you hesitate on, right?
Don't talk, just shoot. And I know it's a bit cliche to have an actor or a character in a story that is so obsessed, you know, like the whale with Ahab and you know, the big whale story. What is it? Moby Dick. That's it. Yeah, man, I don't know where I am tonight. Yeah. So, you know, he basically kills himself to find the whale, and it's the same with this. Is you have a character who is so obsessed with something. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just not that guy, but I can't see that kind of like fictional cliche happening in real life. Do you think, or is it?
No, because like, if you honestly, like, as much as you don't want anybody to die or anything, but like, if you've wasted all those resources to the point, and if I had a gun, I would have just started shooting and running towards them.
Sure. Yeah.
Because like, you have to end your, like, at least get your mission done that you wanted to do before you get tore apart. But it just creates the extra drama and everything.
It's true. Yeah. I mean, lots of things they do in TV that you wouldn't do in real life. But I just think that personal survival, to me, would be way more important than trying to kill 2 little kids.
Well, and that's the case where you go back, like, I wouldn't even have wasted. That's where Perry made sense. Like, why would you waste the resources and the bullets and the men and everything on that? Like,
when you think about it, the entire QZ, all her men, her mission, all of that was lost simply because of that stupid obsession. With one
and like,
boy.
And they're driving their vehicles around, so look at the gas you're wasting, and the manpower and the bullets and of course then you're weakening your resources where they should be stronger to keep the other. Like, it just didn't make any sense.
I mean, in the words of Clark W. Griswold's mother-in-law, I hope you see what a silly waste of resources this has been. Because that's exactly what it was, right?
Yep.
But so from there, they hold up into a hotel, or motel, actually. But anyway, before that, Chris says you got to get a monologuing if you want to live, right? Every time, right? So they're in a little motel. They're sitting there, they're having a chat, and Ellie and Sam have a room to themselves. And they're working through a comic book and talking about it, or they're talking about their favorite comic book character, which plays a big part in the video game as well, which is kind of cool. And of course, he's like, you know, do you think you stay the same if you change? You know, are you still in there? And then he shows her, it was his ankle, wasn't it?
His shin.
His shin, that's it. Yeah, so he's bit. And then Ellie doesn't do what Ellie should have done. You know, Ellie should have went out and said, Joel, you know, like, I got to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. And because anyway, so.
Well, that's where the whole her being a kid again
that's
comes
true,
into play. Yeah.
Because remember when she takes her blood and she puts it on Sam's cut. Do you think she really thought that it might help him?
I think she did.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think a lot of it was like where she's been told her entire life that her blood is what they need, right?
That's a good point.
So
yeah.
I'm thinking maybe it was like she did it to make him feel better / I think she actually kind of believed it.
Well, I was wondering that. I wasn't, I wasn't 100% sure, but she does doze off, doesn't she? A little
And
bit?
that's why I think she thought she believed it, right?
Oh, that's a good point, baby. She believed it enough that she was able to calm down and fall asleep, right? We have a dog who's literally trying to
Maisie.
Little 5-pound Maisie's trying to chew through the door right
Only
now.
because I'm in here.
Yeah, she don't care if I'm in here. But Aaron says, so wouldn't it be at least wouldn't the blood at least affect her, even though she does have whatever healing? Like maybe give her an infection or something? Do you think that's what she means? Or
I think even if it did infect her, her body would fight it off anyway.
Yeah, I think so. Now, Barrett says this, and you are right on this. I never thought about this, but he said, as a parent, one would think you would check each other for bites after a battle like that. I mean, if nothing else, when Dad and I used to go fishing, we'd check each other for ticks afterwards. You know that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a good point, Barrett. Look at him being friggin' practical. But you're right. Like, they just like, yeah, hey, kids, go play. Yeah. You know, I know you could turn into a zombie and try to kill us all, but ain't nothing more.
Go read your comics.
I don't have
10, get out of my face.
I don't have 10 seconds to look at your ankles.
Well, especially when they were like attacked by clickers too, right? So,
and then again, I guess Henry was in denial a lot. Through the whole story, but so Ellie wakes up. She's sitting on the edge of her seat, and I thought this was a neat little nod. I read this from the director, Sam, when he fell asleep. Or when he turned, he turned to face the window so that he wouldn't be looking at her. So it would give her a chance to sneak up on him, because, again, it's hearing, right?
And he is deaf. So,
yeah. Oh, right. Yeah. So it was cool. I thought that was neat, but of course, because they're kids, everybody almost died anyway, right? And Aaron says she's got the veins from the other ones, and I just expected her to at least have something on her hand. I'm not sure I completely understand. Did you catch that, or do you know? She's got the veins from the other ones, and I just expected her to at least have something on her hand. Like, from the second bite she got, maybe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that. But yeah, I don't know. It even, at least I've never gone through the second video game, but it really doesn't tell much of the story.
You would think that, like, though, with him having contact with her blood, that her blood would have the cells to fight off that bite.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. I think maybe honestly it's just for her.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Because I mean, not to spoil it, but I mean, they spend the whole season trying to catch up. Aaron says she can't get it over. Don't worry, Aaron. It's been a long week for us too. We appreciate it, but they spend the whole video game trying to find somewhere like to take her, and they never find even an active facility that could research her. So it's not, I don't know. I think you're right. I think she's just the oddball that happens to be immune.
Well, and they don't know what's making her immune. Like it could be like, it could be something as simple as she has, I don't know, AB negative blood where everybody else is O positive, or like it could be, maybe she has some sort of birth defect, or maybe she has an autoimmune disease that can fight it off. Like they never actually, like, you don't know, like it could just be something that she was just lucky to get too. Right.
And they don't even have the facilities or, how are they? I know they're trying, they are, but
that's why I'm saying, like, maybe she's just lucky enough that she has certain cells in her blood that helps her. But it won't help anybody else, because even if you were to take the blood cells out of her, it'd be like a bone marrow transplant.
Right.
Like you can't take, or a blood transfusion. You can't take.
You can actually kill somebody with the wrong blood.
You can't take AB negative blood and put it into an O positive person. So like how are, like, you know what I mean? So like I don't know. I think it's just something that she just got lucky with.
Yeah. And it probably is. And it's probably where it's going to stay. Now, if somebody out there has played the second game, if they elaborate more on that, I'd love to know. But in the first game, there really wasn't anyone. So, yeah, like 28 weeks later, it's just a thing, right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, people are just lucky. Again, the book I read earlier from Jack London, it was the same thing. They're just just random. They had a group of 400 people. Everybody died but one guy. And it was just random. They,
Well, and it's no different. Well, it's even like no different like how like at our daycare, for example.
Sure.
How everyone gets strep throat except for 2 people.
Right.
Or
and there were people who probably still haven't got COVID naturally either, right?
Exactly.
It just happens.
Yeah, like it's just one of those, you're just lucky.
So little Sam bursts through the door. Ellie screams. Joel tries to grab his gun. Henry wrestles it away from him. And then he stands there.
Which was really dumb.
It was dumb.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh my God. But I know that the guy, again, here's the thing. When your entire identity is tied into one little mission, Kathleen was evil, but Henry's entire reason for being, again, was to look after Sam. And that's what, that's the theme of the entire show as you go along. Remember when Joel says, the only reason to keep going is to look after family? And I think that's how Henry seen it. And he didn't, even though Sam had turned, he didn't want Joel to shoot him, right?
Yeah, he wanted to do it.
And he did. Yeah. And he shot him without remorse as quick as he could.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as he did it, and that's where, so if you haven't seen it, well, we've spoiled the whole episode.
Spoiler
anyway.
alert.
Yeah. But Henry then turns the gun and shoots himself in the head. And it's sad and it's coming. But yeah. I mean, again, so let me put on my my realist or my pessimist glasses here. But when you introduce 2 characters to a side plot of a story, you need to come up with a way to get rid of them before the main characters move on.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's just life within television, right?
Yeah.
So you knew it was going to happen. We've played the video game before. It's sad. So they take them outside, they bury them, and in the background you can see what's the remnants of a U.S.A. sign. Now, Chris Dixon's the one who pointed it out in the Telegram group earlier this week. I thought it was pretty cool. Now, for those of you who don't know, which will be pretty much everybody other than us and Chris Dixon and Barrett, the U.S.A. is United Farmers of Alberta, and that's where I used to work at the farm store, and they're all over Alberta, but they're basically just Alberta, and I think maybe just a couple over the border into Saskatchewan. So, of course, there's not going to be any in Kansas, but they basically cut out most of the sign, and all you can see was a U. But it was really cool to see a United Farmers of Alberta sign and building right there.
Yeah.
And just, it was a neat little kind of, I love seeing the little Alberta things, you know? So then they bury him, and just as they're leaving, Ellie writes in that little scratch pad, what'd you put? I'm sorry. Yeah. And then Joel started walking off with her, right?
Yeah.
Or walking off without her. She started walking first. Yeah.
She asked what direction east or
west? West. Yeah. But it was neat. So I enjoyed that. So one of the things that I want, like I talked about before, when you had those, what do they call them? NPCs, the non-playable characters. Mm-hmm. And when Joel's in the firefight, after he flips over the truck, you hear these guys off in the distance, and it's, from what I understand, they took some of that dialogue directly from the video game, but it works in this, right? It works. Now in this part, what I love, and I mentioned earlier, is the mission feel of these stories, right? Mm-hmm. Your first 2 were getting Ellie out of the compound, right? And then number 3 was the 2 guys in the bunker. That one, I can't remember their name. Bill? Was it Bill? I don't know. Anyway, yeah. Ron Swanson in the bunker. Bill. Yeah. So, and that was its own standalone mission story. And now this one was a 2-parter. And I love how they're individual missions that have stakes, and they're entertaining and emotional, but at the same time, they help push them along, and the road trip connects all these stories as they go. So it's neat. I've enjoyed that. Barrett says he hasn't made it that far in the game yet. Dixon says, I wonder how Big D feels about all those bodies being buried beside his burger shack. So yeah, that's right. It was Big D's burger shack. They showed videos of it. So I would, if I were him, I'd lean into that hard. I'd put little gravestones, or, I think there's going to be, at least for the next couple of years, I think there's going to be a little boon of tourism for.
Well, he should put like fake graves out there. Yeah, just like for a tourist attraction.
Right? And Chris is like, yeah. So Chris is going to be that guy. He's like, so Joel actually points north, not west. But yeah, you're right. That's funny. I enjoyed that. So
No, I'd take advantage of it.
I would friggin'
Yeah.
right. Well, we're going to try this summer to do a little trip and go around and see some of the places.
But no, like if I owned the place, I would take advantage of it.
Yes.
Get one of those little scratch pads and put
The
on
little
some-
diner
Yeah.
from the first episode where he's trying to save his daughter and they run through there.
Yeah.
All of that. Like, yeah, I would.
Yeah.
Yeah, just put a sign up, or like you said, little gravestones, and hang the little scratch pad on it. Oh yeah, I would lean into that. I'd probably like stop here for the Last of Us burgers or something. I would just lean into it. It'd be fun, right? But this episode had a 93 on Rotten Tomatoes, which has been kind of around where it needs to be.
Yep.
And I always have to have fun by looking up the negative reviews. But there were 30 reviews with 2 negatives this time. One new guy, our buddy Randy Dekanovich from Tilt Magazine. We're going to talk about him again because this is his second appearance on the Last of Us Workshop Wasteland podcast. And he's a bit of a pain in my ass. But Eric Kane from Forbes, we're going to read a little bit about his thoughts on the episode. And the stuff these guys have to say isn't completely wrong.
Yeah.
Because it was a great episode, but it wasn't a perfect episode, right?
Yeah.
So let's see what anybody come up with. The zombie burger or fungus, the clicker burger. I'd say the clicker burger with extra fungus would be really good. I like that name. So Eric Kane says, even in the games, I didn't like the bloaters. They felt like the most out of place of all the infected. Like something you'd add to a game just to make enemies more varied. In the show, the bloater just seemed super goofy to me. What do you think? I liked him, but
he was really well done and everything like that. But it is kind of true. Like,
yeah,
because
but in a video game, you got to add something.
Yeah, but
different.
in a video game, well, it's kind of like when you play Mario, right? And you're
like, oh, it's a red turtle with wings.
Yeah, but you have then you have to beat Bauer, but then you got to beat Super Bauer.
Bowser. Remember?
Bowser, yeah. But like,
That's
it's
true.
like, I get it, like, because like, what, how would he become so big? Like,
so
what is he like?
There's a mythology behind it. I had to look it up. So basically, what the story of the creator is, he said that the fungus attacks strong, in shape people different than anyone else. So basically, bodybuilders and that sort of thing. I know it doesn't make sense to me, but basically what he said was that it supercharged their muscles and caused their bodies to grow. I know, whatever. But I like the dude.
It's a little far.
So.
Oh, no. It was a cool character, but a little far-fetched, I think.
Aaron said he did come just out of nowhere as someone who's never played the game. Right. You're not. Yeah. And Chris says it was ridiculous. Okay, good. All right, fine. Yeah. I'll give you that.
Well, and it makes it even more ridiculous that like they're shooting them and the bullets are kind of bouncing off them and everything. Like,
and of course that is from the video game. But
I know,
but
it's not a video game. It's a show.
You're, good point.
You're right.
Yes.
And I don't know, like it did kind of and I think they did that on,
Walking Dead.
Not Walking Dead. The I Am Legend.
Oh.
Didn't they have like a bigger guy?
I think so. I'm not. I can't.
The bald guy that they took.
Right. Yeah.
Like
he was a little stronger than the rest.
Yeah,
of
he was stronger than the rest. It's like, but why? Right. Like,
you're right, and I, you know what, I can see that. So for me, of course, coming at it from a guy who's played the video game, I enjoyed seeing it, but I could see where maybe it wasn't necessarily needed because
it really wasn't.
The two co-showrunners actually debated quite a bit about whether they should even include him or not. So because it would have been the thing was, and he's not wrong. The next guy says the bloater had almost no screen time. He shows up, he's there, he tears them apart, and then he lumbers off in the woods like a grizzly he spooked on a trail.
Yeah.
So yeah. Now this was. This is the part I kind of agree with a little bit here. But so they said a smaller group of bad guys hunting Henry or Sam, maybe even a group of scary white supremacist type, might have been a lot more scary and narratively effective. He said everything to do with Sam and Henry and Ellie and Joel worked great, but everything else felt sloppy and tacked on, like pieces glued together that didn't quite fit. Kathleen and her people felt at once like too much and too little, a lot of extra baggage for a little payoff.
Mm-hmm.
So I think my biggest complaint with the episode is that Kathleen's stupid. You know what I mean? Like and I don't mean like she's super intelligent, but her character was written dumb. Like she's just a one-trick pony, right?
Well, that, and I did find that the episode felt rushed.
Oh yeah, it could have been longer. Yeah,
it could have been longer, and the way that they rush things, and the way that it just like it was like boom, 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 and all of a sudden the end.
Yeah,
and it did. Yeah, like I get it. It was kind of sloppy. It like, and they were just kind of like throwing things left, right, and center, and then it kind of had like the whole Mad Max feel where they're all like on the side of the trucks and the buses, and they're hanging out and they're shooting guns and being all crazy. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I know. Actually, I know it's a negative review, but I kind of agree with them.
Well,
I do on it.
The thing that bugged me, or the thing that the more I read the reviews and stuff, was Kathleen. She wasn't a well-rounded character. Who she was a caricature. You know what I mean? Like,
and her name's it's Melanie Linsky, is it not?
I think so.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say
and
yes.
like I don't mind her, but I find a lot of her roles are like that.
She's typecast, you know, and that's fair. I mean, because she has that face and that sound, you know, and that's okay. You know, it happens. But but there was just not a lot of, so Chris Dixon says, but if you look at any vengeful villain, they are a one-trick person. And that's true. Like, it's not a, you know, I mean, they're always, they're never fully fleshed out, right? No. They're like, oh, I just want to steal Rapunzel's youth, or Sleeping Beauty's beauty, or whatever it happens to be. You know, I get their motivation isn't, it's just, I don't know. I think the dude's right that like a little group of vigilantes, or friggin', like he said, white supremacists even would have worked. It didn't need to be there, but it would have. It
didn't have to be the entire rebellion.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And then, and then Aaron says, and how did guys not just go around the car that was 2 feet away when Henry called out? I know. And of course it's done for effect, but you've got her standing here, and you got a car at 45 degrees, and Henry's right by the front tire. I mean, it's not like you can't tell where they are, right? Okay. So just walk around and shoot them. You've got 80 men there that could have surrounded the car, or just opened fire on all of them. But I know. So, yeah. Now, Randy Dinkovich or Dankovich. We had him on before here. Dankovich, yeah. Tilt Magazine. Now he just seems to like to piss on The Last of Us. I don't know. He's got like somebody pissed in his cornflakes, I think.
Yeah. But
he said, so as a morality play, The Last of Us story really only has 3 rules. The first one is do bad things and bad shit will happen to you. Rule number 2, do good things and bad shit will also happen to you. Mm-hmm. Rule number 3, repeat 1 and 2 until everyone is miserable. Well, yeah, that is kind of, I mean,
I think that was the moral for Walking Dead too.
That's, I mean, I'm sorry if you want a happy ending in a fucking world-ending apocalyptic story.
I think that's the moral for pretty much every apocalyptic movie.
He better not watch On the Beach. So I talked about that one last night. It's a movie from 1959 where the entire fucking world dies from radiation poisoning.
Or The Road.
Yeah. The government literally hands out suicide kits to their citizens so that when the radioactive cloud gets there, they can off themselves before they get there. Like, I mean, has he never watched any prestige drama before? Like, there's no happy ending in fucking Breaking Bad. You know, that's the moral of the story in Breaking Bad too. You do bad things happen. You do good things. Oh, guess what? You get cancer, or, you know, your husband gets shot or whatever. Right. Yeah. So here we go. This guy gets better as we go along too. This guy has an agenda. I can't help it. It must be absolutely tiresome to have to watch. I'm just going to say it. It must be tiresome to have to watch content through a diversity lens all the time. It's got to drive a person crazy. So he says, in case you were confused by the opening scene of last week's episode, Endure and Survive confirms that, yes, the only Black and Jewish characters, I didn't know they were Jewish. How do you know they're Jewish?
I think the doctor.
Oh, maybe the doctor. Okay. He's like, the only Black and Jewish characters in Kansas City are conspirators with the fascist Fedra. Okay.
I don't think them being conspirators had anything to do with their religion or skin color.
No.
But anyway.
Not at all. And then this guy always has to turn it around to sex, too. He's the same guy that had some kind of weird thing. He said, however, what Endure and Survive, that's the name of this episode, in its horniness to get to the fucking depressing part, doesn't want to color in areas around those choices it doesn't want or have time to really engage with. Why Kathleen and Henry made their respective decisions. I don't.
I kind of, well, and that's what I meant. Like, I kind of agree a little bit with that because, like, this could have went over like maybe 2 or 3 episodes and went into more depth of it. But like I said, it was like really rushed.
Yes.
Like,
now, I feel like the entire season has been a bit rushed, to be honest.
Yeah, I wish they would kind of slow it down.
I think the game could have been turned into 2 seasons. I think because
Yeah.
when they said 9 episodes, I was like, shit, that's not very long. And I mean, fuck, we're in the snow with Tommy now, right?
Well,
the next episode,
and that's the thing. Like, if they want to do episodes with these characters, like with Kathleen and Henry and Sam and stuff, they have to take the time to explain. Because if they're going to the extent to Kathleen hunting them and then Henry killing Sam and everything like that, like, you need to have a little bit more of a backstory.
No,
and
I
you
agree.
need to know, like, instead of Henry just going, "Oh, by the way, blah, 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 this is what we did," but
either like they said with Kathleen, either you build her character more,
or just
or
don't put
you
her
just
in
turn
it.
her into a boogeyman, right?
Yeah.
Somebody hunting Henry and Sam that maybe you don't see, and that's I get it for sure.
Yeah, because like they focus so much on her, and you could tell this woman had so much hate.
Oh yeah,
and everything, but I'm sure there was way more to it. Like, why was her brother part of the rebellion? Like, what started it? How did he start it? Why did he start it? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
but it sounds like the brother was a good dude because he did tell her, he's like, hey, I know I got killed for this. Don't seek revenge. And what does she do? I'm gonna seek revenge.
But that's the thing. Like, maybe they should have focused. Maybe they should have did more of a backstory.
Yes,
if they were going to spend this much time on them.
I'll give you that. Sure.
Yeah. I agree with him there. Even though I don't like him, I agree with him there.
This line here drives me crazy, though. And like I said, I agree with the Kathleen part about fully fleshed out characters. I think it's pretty important. But so he says there is no nuance. Nobody gets to be happy because that's what makes a tragic story have meaning, right? And then he says, to which I say no. So if there, that's what a tragedy is. It, Romeo and Juliet. I mean, sure, there's a reason behind it, but maybe it's the Gen X in me talking, but a story can be tragic without having a meaning. Like, and that's what sucks. That's what sucks the life out of you. Like the story, maybe the meaning here is that people really suck and that bad things happen to good people, and
maybe it's an apocalyptic movie and nobody's going to be happy because they live in squalor and they live around death and they're hiding and they don't know where they're going to get their next meal and nobody's going to be happy. Like,
his final paragraph said, when it is time to make these side stories more engaging, The Last of Us doesn't really know what to do. It's why Kathleen, a wholly new invention for the TV show, feels like such a missed opportunity.
I agree with
that.
And
I 100% agree with that. And because either you turn her into a four episode arc, you give an entire standalone episode to her finding her brother dead, filling in the whole backstory, or you turn her into a spook that nobody sees and she's just somebody going after these 2 kids.
I think they could have did at least 2. I think they could have did at least 2 episodes with a little bit more detail. Like, I agree with that. Like, because it just felt too rushed, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh. And honestly, I think they could have did more with Bill's story too.
Oh yeah, I would have loved that. I was happy we got 1 full episode.
It was, but I think his could have been 2 or 3 episodes too. Like, they could have elaborated more on it. They could have gone into more detail of how Joel and what was the woman's name?
Ellie. Tess.
Like their relationship and how it was built up, and like they could have did so much more with that with him as well. And like his episode was incredible, but I still think they could have did more with it as well.
Oh, absolutely.
And same with Kathleen. Like, they could have did a lot more with her.
So, okay, what do we got here? So Chris says, I think they're, and he's not wrong about this. Yeah. I agree 100% with you here, Dixon, for sure. He says, I think they're doing good to get this one over with. Walking Dead lasted, and then he stretches out forever with about 17 vowels there. So yes, you're right. Walking Dead long overstayed its welcome. He said it could have been a 3-season show. Yes, I think 5,
like a 5 season, because once the 5th season came, it was
absolutely. But I also think that this season could have excelled, okay, I don't want to say this until we get to the end of it, but I really think it could have been more fleshed out with maybe a 12 to 15 episode,
I think it could have been 2 seasons, right? Yeah, Bill and Frank, Aaron.
Okay.
Yeah, they were in the game. It's a little bit different. Frank actually gets...
They don't have a happy ending.
No, Frank actually gets bit and then he hangs himself, but they were separated. And then Bill comes back and finds him hanging.
Bill is an absolute asshole in the video game that
he is.
Nobody likes. They don't come right out and say that they're a gay couple in the video game.
Not
they
in the
talk
game,
about,
no.
they say, I forget. I mean, they allude to it. It's pretty obvious what it is. It's cool. But what happens is Bill's a dick who basically is just focused on survival. Frank wants to live his life, and the two of them just fight all the time. And Frank ends up taking off, and eventually they find him. I think it's in a building. He hung himself
because he was bit.
Because he got bit. Yeah. So they are there. So Aaron says, I think we need a live stream of you playing the game. I would love. I got to figure out how to find more time in a week, but I'd love to live stream on Twitch. I've been playing this game, Mr. Prepper, a little bit, and I'd love to figure out how to live stream it. It'd be fun. It'd be fun to play the game and do some commentary.
Cameras on your head and sit close to the TV.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We're going to start doing that with movies before long, aren't we? We're going to do one a month or something. But so Bill and Frank were in the game, and they were, whatever. But I like the changes.
But Bill's also in the game a lot longer than what he is in the episode, too.
Yeah, he actually, if I remember correctly, and I don't know. I don't
think he dies in the game right away, does he? Or does it kind of just go off?
They get together and work for a bit. Like they travel together for a little while, and then but he ends up I'm sure he ends up dying because they end up with his truck. They do have that stupid little S10, the yellowish or whatever. Was it yellow? Or I don't know. Blue. Yeah.
Blue and white.
Yeah, I'm colorblind some days. But yeah, no, anyway. So yeah, that so Aaron, if you have questions we haven't answered yet, throw them out there. So on a slightly related note, I wanted to share this news story that I don't know if I've told you this yet, but you'll be excited.
I read it when you sent it.
Okay. Yeah. So here we go, guys, from CNN Entertainment. Now, it could be good or bad. Who knows? Hey, Hunter said, I'm just going back to work, so wanted to say hi. Good to have you over on Twitch holding the fort down for us. So, ready for this, guys? I Am Legend sequel. That is correct. Is going to rely on the alternate ending of the original, which is a good move because in the non-alternative ending, Will Smith dies.
Yeah,
so,
which it's based on a book, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Because in the book, I don't think he dies.
I don't think so either.
No.
There's been 3 or 4 movies made on this. I can't remember. I want to say the book is called I Am Legend as well, but I might be wrong about that. Let's see here. I Am Legend book. So yeah, it is going to. Yeah, it's I Am Legend by Richard Matheson.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure he doesn't die in the book.
I'm not. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But it's more vampires than zombies in the book. It's it's only 160 pages from 1954. And then it was adapted on multiple occasions. There was a comic book. Now the film, Last Man on Earth, starring Vincent Price, that got, which would have been good. And then the one I was thinking of was the Omega Man, and that starred Charlton Heston, old Moses himself. Isn't he the one that said you'd have to take my gun from my cold dead hands? That was the dude, right?
In regards to the Combine shootings.
Yeah, he was. So there was lots. Anyway, so there's a sequel coming up. I'm excited.
Oh, I Am Legend's one of my favorite movies. So
let's see what we can find here. Let's see if we can share this. So
I was so disappointed when they killed him at the end, though, and then you had the alternate ending, and you're like, yeah, that's awesome.
You probably won't be able to see this much, but I grabbed the wrong. Well, you know what? Forget it. Let's just kick that one out of here. So we're going to go back in like that. A planned sequel from Will Smith's 2007 film I Am Legend will flip the script on what happened to his character. The new movie is set to star Will Smith and Michael B. Jordan, who is in literally every film lately.
I'm not a huge fan of his, unfortunately.
I'm not either, but explaining that the sequel will be set a few decades later than the first. The guy who's making the film says he's obsessed with the HBO series The Last of Us, where we see the world just post-apocalypse, but also after a 20 to 30 year time lapse, he said. You see how the earth reclaims the world, and there's something beautiful in the question of, as man steps away from being the primary tenant of Earth, what happens? That will be especially visual in New York. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So I love I Am Legend. And so it says here that it's a sequel that Warner Brothers is working on, and I read in another article, they're very interested in making it happen. So it is going to happen at this point. Yes. Hey, RZ, good to have you. Charlton Heston was in Soylent Green as well. The scoops are coming. It's people,
Yeah.
So I am cautiously optimistic, because long gestating sequels or spin-offs or reboots don't always go the way they're planned.
Yeah, see, the original movie was based on Richard
Matheson's 54 novel.
And there's an alternate ending.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I like the alternate ending much better anyway, because he survives. And so I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited. I always tell the story that was, you found it. I always say that. I always want to take credit for that, but you're the one who found it online.
Always taking credit for something.
Was it even in theaters yet when we happened to come across a DVD quality copy of it somewhere?
It was. It's because somebody released them before the Oscars.
Yeah, we used to get those screeners. They were great. They've kind of disappeared now because they cracked down on that.
Wow, the Oscar movies have sucked lately. The last 10 years anyway. So.
And I still haven't seen Knock at the Cabin yet, but you have.
I went and seen it on the weekend.
Yeah. Can you give a spoiler-free review, so not without ruining it for me?
Yeah.
Talk about it a little bit.
Honestly, my sister and I went and seen it, and we seen the preview for it when we went to see what
the last one we went and watched. Was it a horror movie?
Megan.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So we seen the preview for it, and I was like,
again, cautiously optimistic because the last one he did wasn't very good.
M. Night Shyamalan has let me down so many times.
He's hit or miss.
He's been miss a lot lately.
Yeah.
But and so we went in. And we had a great theater. It was like recliner seats and everything. And Amy and I were so pumped about it because she loves Shyamalan too. So we went, and honestly, and without being too mean, I wouldn't waste your money.
That's a shame.
I was so disappointed, even at the very ending there.
Don't spoil it.
No, I'm not going to say anything. When the credits were rolling, Amy and I looked at each other and we're like, "That was so disappointing."
That's a shame
because we were so pumped for it, and I even took the time. I'm like, "Okay, I'm going to give him a chance. I'm going to watch that old." That was so disappointing, and he has yet to redeem himself at all. Like he kind of reminds me a lot of Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
Remember Tarantino was
Pulp Fiction.
Well, yeah. Well, no, but he did Pulp Fiction, but then he had those shit time. And then he released Inglourious Bastards, which was an incredible movie.
Because if any other director had released Inglourious Bastards, it would be my favorite film of that director.
Yeah, but he redeemed himself.
Oh yeah, but it's just because I love Pulp Fiction so much.
Yeah, but he released Inglourious Bastards, and then it was like,
I didn't really
Django,
like,
and it was like,
Django.
Then it was all crap, and he has yet to redeem himself with me. But I know with M. Night Shyamalan, it has been, he has been a lot of misses lately. Like I didn't mind the one where
Split.
I didn't mind Split, but what was the one that he did with the one after that?
So there was Split, and then there was
the one where the kids go there for the weekend.
That actually came out before Split, I think.
Did it?
I think it was called The Visit.
The Visit, yes.
Yeah.
The Visit.
Let me bring it up here.
The Visit was okay.
Yep.
Split was really, really good. But then
Glass was not.
Glass was
horrible.
So bad. And I think that was because they were trying to make something that wasn't there.
They were, yes. And they were trying to create this shared universe that just didn't exist.
But then the Knock at the Cabin, with no spoilers, Batista was incredible. He's
going to be the best. Yeah.
He's actually redeemed himself pretty good. He's hard to take as a serious actor, and it's probably because he's gigantic. And Amy and I were trying to gather, like, because like his head was
it bald?
It wasn't like, is his head tattooed, or is that just his hairline?
I don't think his head.
Because
I
like
don't know.
we were trying to figure it out, because like his head was like, you could see where his hair was, and it was really dark. But we were trying to figure out if his head was actually tattooed.
No, I don't know.
No, so it just looked dark in the movie.
Kind of looks like a giant
like
penis.
Yeah, look at this one here.
Yeah,
like with the black.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
I think it's the way he shaves his head.
Okay,
I don't know
so
what he does.
So
yeah.
we were trying to figure out if his head was tattooed or not. But and what is he, like 6 foot something?
He's a big dude.
Like he's enormous. But like when he talks, he has like this really soft voice.
In this one, or in general?
In this movie, he has like this really soft voice, and you're just kind of like, that doesn't even match him, right? And of course, well, you can look this part up on times, but then you're watching it, and then he explains that he's an elementary school teacher.
Oh,
right,
okay.
And you're just like, and he's got like, he's all tatted up, and is like, and his head did look tatted. We weren't sure, but and he wears like the button down shirt and the khakis, and he's talking like this, and you're just like, okay.
Doesn't he play? Isn't he like a fundamentalist Christian kind of? Or is he not? No. Okay.
No,
right.
no. If I say any more,
no, I don't. It's okay. Don't tell me. Yeah.
No,
all right.
But so,
let's move on.
No. But so he is really good in it. He is like I don't think he's going to be able to do a lot of serious roles, because he's going to be. I think what's going to happen with Batista, which I hope really doesn't. I think he's probably going to go like a John Cena route.
Want to do more comedy?
More.
Yeah,
because like you can't really take him serious enough.
Because they're both better actors. Hey, Chuck Peoples, good to have you.
But they're both really good actors, but there's only so much serious acting that someone that looks like him can do.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, it's not like you're gonna cast him in some sort of love story or anything. You know what I mean? Like,
maybe they will. I don't know.
I don't know. I think it'd be hard to believe. And then and then of course it has Rupert. Is it Rupert Grint?
Oh yeah,
from
the redheaded kid
from Harry Potter.
Harry Potter, yeah.
And
he's not much of an actor.
He's not. He wasn't in it for very long, but
okay.
But he is. But he wasn't bad. And then it had like the two women, and I didn't recognize them from anything. And then the gay couple, I didn't recognize either.
A lot of unknown,
but it was all well acted.
Okay,
I will give it that. But just the whole premise and the story, like, I think it could have done a lot better.
Okay.
But and of course, and then M. Night Shyamalan always has to pull like a Stephen King, where he's always got to be in the, and I don't know, Amy could correct me, but when we seen him in the cameo, I swear he looked like a younger version of Michael Jackson.
That's funny.
It was actually kind of creepy, like
like Bad, or
no, like
the Red Jacket Michael Jackson.
Yeah, like late 80s Michael Jackson's, before his skin started getting lighter.
Oh, sure, before
like he looked like him, and he had like the wild hair, and it's like, because I had to double take. It's like, he looks like Michael Jackson. That's really weird. But but I don't know. It kind of had like a Hitchcock feel, to it, the way it was filmed and
that's
stuff.
That's what I liked about it, because when me and Cam and Colby there, the Casual Preppers, did the Signs episode the other day, I mean, we talked about that a lot. Is Shyamalan's influence from Hitchcock? I mean, from his score, from his credits.
But Servant is ridiculous.
Yeah, we didn't. Yeah,
but I like, honestly, it wouldn't compare with Signs.
No.
Category. No.
So,
or The Village, it wouldn't compare.
Yeah, we did this when I was talking to the guys. We picked out our favorites, and of course, like for me, it's Signs, then Unbreakable, and then, I mean, from there, probably Split would be my next favorite. But the ones I don't, and I actually like The Happening. I think it's hilarious on purpose.
But now, see, I didn't like Unbreakable.
Oh, I know. Unbreakable is. I just watched it at a certain time in my life, I was like,
and I love Bruce Willis. And did you see the new?
I was going to say, so if you guys haven't heard today, they announced that Bruce Willis doesn't just have aphasia, but he has dementia. So,
and I love Bruce Willis, I do, but I didn't like Unbreakable. But The Happening, The Village and Signs
Yeah.
are probably my favorite.
Aaron said Signs wasn't as good as she remembered it. That's sad. I enjoy it every time I watch it.
The effects didn't date very well.
No, they were bad. They were bad from the day they were released.
Yeah,
on purpose.
But they didn't date very well. Like, because we watched it the other day too, and then the more you watch, you're like, oh yeah, these effects didn't.
See, the problem is I hyped the damn. I talked about it for 6 weeks straight, and poor Erin, she probably had to listen to me talk about it in every live stream. So it's like, oh yeah, it must be good. Never mind. Tim's an idiot. So.
Yeah.
Barrett says it's sad. Yes. For a guy that, said yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker, and walked through broken glass to save his missus.
Yeah.
It was. It is sad because, I mean, whether you liked him or didn't like him, he doesn't deserve what he's going through.
Well, plus he's got a new wife, and I think they have a couple littles.
Yeah.
I don't think the little ones are very old. But I think they're probably like 3 and 6 or something.
Yeah, can you imagine?
They're not.
He's in his 60s, right?
He's not very old.
No, I thought.
No.
What did they say he was? I thought they
63, maybe
64. Or wouldn't be 67, would it? I think it was 67. I think he is. I am. I'm going to find it here. I think that's what they. I thought I read
even
that.
67's not old.
No. Because I think I did the math because they give them. Unfortunately, they said between 7 and 14 years is the expectancy when you have dementia like that. So, which is
actually that's not.
It's
bad.
better than it's way better than expected. You know?
Like
RZ says go back and watch Hudson Hawk. I've never watched Hudson Hawk. Have you seen it? It was a hyped up film that he did. It was one of the first ones that he got a great big payday for. And it was a box office flop. Bruce Willis from the late 80s. It was I think he made it just after his, what was the TV show he was famous for? Moonlighting. That's it. So, okay. 55. So yeah, he's
67. So
67. Yeah. So yeah, he's not young, but
it's not old either. Right?
No. No. Geez, no. But then I did read an article today about a 19-year-old Chinese kid who had Alzheimer's. So Jesus. Anyway, that's another story.
Yeah.
But so Aaron mentioned about M. Night Shyamalan, and this is up here. It said he just signed a multi-year first look deal at Warner Brothers. Let's see what it says. Career span. Yeah. Well, okay. So here's the deal. Here's the deal about Shyamalan. His movies make money.
I know.
Because this one actually had a big budget. If I looked it up, it's about $20 million. But his movies tend to be in the $8 to $12 million budget range because they're small, self-contained. He writes, he directs. He makes most of the money off them, which is really smart. But here's the thing. When you have a movie with an $8 million budget, it's only got to make $16 million to make money at the box office.
But it's kind of like, but why would you sell yourself short and just make shit movies, right?
Well, I don't necessarily think, I don't think he considers them shit. That's just his style. You know what I mean? Like,
no, but it wasn't good.
Well, here's the thing. If you guys, maybe you guys don't know about this, but Psycho, the movie we all think of as like his big break, so it was an adaptation from a book that people didn't like. And Hitchcock had actually come off of what they considered a couple of failures in his career. He had to self-fund Psycho because nobody would give him money. He wanted to make this movie. He had to promote it himself, all of that. And so he believed in himself. I think that's what Shyamalan is too, but
I think Shyamalan's starting to believe his own hype.
Maybe. I also think that he puts out too many films.
Well, that's what I mean. He's believing his own hype. And he kind of his head's too big for the door frame, and he reminds me a lot of Tarantino.
Mm-hmm.
Like they just think their shit don't stink, and that everything they do is gold, and it's not. Like,
speaking of Bruce Willis, I forgot for a minute he was in Pulp Fiction as well. Great character in Pulp Fiction,
and he's oversaturated. I think like
Shyamalan. Mm-hmm. Well, see, he got that kind of resurgence with Split, right? It was a huge hit, and they're like, "Hey, here you go," but they're not going to stop throwing money at him because he makes, films you can bank on because, again, they're cheap. And that's what companies are looking for. They don't like to make middle of the road films anymore. They like to make the, $5 to $10 million or the $8 billion Disney films.
Yeah.
Which, if anybody's heard, there's rumors that Disney is trying to sell Star Wars. They're in trouble, guys. Disney is hurting right now.
Well, maybe because the new Star Wars movies suck.
Oh, yeah,
right?
Of course they did. Yeah.
Like The Mandalorian is good. But
so they're like, well, we have Lucasfilms right now, and we have zapped every life we could out of Star Wars. So what should we do? I know. Let's make another Indiana Jones movie that hasn't been relevant since 1986
And how old
with
is
a 104-year-old Harrison Ford.
How old is he? He's going to be almost 80, right?
Oh, he is 80. I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I am not a Harrison Ford fan at all.
I'm going to put it out there, and anybody can shoot me that wants to. I cannot stand the Indiana Jones movies.
I don't like them either.
I think they are so goddamn boring. I
don't like them either. Like, I watched them when I was a kid, and I think it's because my dad liked them. But honestly, I never liked them.
So Aaron says, oh boy, you're going to make me feel old, Aaron. Maybe because they need to make a Toy Story 30. Yeah. Well, I thought you were making a joke about the age of Toy Story, but you're right. Yes, make another Toy Story. But all kidding aside, Toy Story is pretty damn close to being 30 years old, the original one. If you want to feel old, let's just take a look here. I'm going to say 1995 is when the first one came out. Let's see how close. Oh, yeah. So 2 more years, and it's been 30 years.
I don't even like Toy Story.
Nah, whatever. It was okay. But yes, The Fugitive's okay. I don't know. I think my favorite Harrison Ford movie is probably Air Force One. Get off my plane.
I like The Fugitive, but honestly, I didn't watch it for Harrison Ford. I like Tommy Lee Jones.
Oh, yes. Yeah, Tommy Lee Jones is good. Tommy Lee Jones was so good in No Country for Old Men.
He was. Too. And the thing is, like, I used to watch him when I was a kid, and he's been old since I watched him.
My grandmother, you know?
I know. Yeah. And the funny thing is, so when I was like 14, 15, I had like this weird sort of crush on him. And I'm just like, I think it was his voice.
Sure. Yeah. He's one of them guys.
He's not good looking at all.
Well, he did play Two-Face after all.
I know, but when you I know I had like this weird crush on him, but I loved him in The Fugitive, and I think it's because I think it was just his voice and stuff, but I didn't watch it for Harrison Ford. I didn't.
And what do you call it there? Him and Al Gore were bunkmates or roommates in college. I just found that out. Yeah. So I'm trying to find his age here, but it doesn't show it on IMDb. But
look on Wikipedia.
Yeah. Let's see what we got here. So Tommy Lee Jones. Anybody see the latest pictures from the Joker sequel? So if anybody 1946. So what's that make him? 76. Yeah. So he's not as old as Harrison Ford, but
but he's getting up there.
But yeah, he is good, and I love Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith in Men in Black.
Mm-hmm.
They were so good. At least the first one, but they were good. Yeah.
Yeah. No. I liked him in The Fugitive, but Harrison Ford. I find.
Go ahead. You can put your hand.
I find Harrison Ford is so.
He's not a good actor.
No, he's
not. Just put it that. Look at that right there. I mean,
he's monotone, and he's just like he has no emotion. He kind of reminds me of a male version of Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
but I don't know. At least when I was 14, I liked looking at Nicole Kidman. I never liked looking at him. So, but yeah, I don't know. But at least Tommy Lee Jones can act. Harrison Ford has been playing his character from Star Wars for the rest of his life.
Well, and that's the thing. Like when he was in the original Star Wars, like even then he couldn't act. They only hired him for his looks.
Sure, and that's what I mean.
He was tall and he had blonde hair, but I don't know. I just don't think he's a good actor. He never has been.
I'm just trying to see if there's anything good he's Tommy Lee Jones has done. Oh, Double Jeopardy with Ashley Judd. He did the voice in Small Soldiers, U.S. Marshals, which was kind of a loose sequel to The Fugitive. Of course,
he did Natural Born Killers.
I don't know if anybody else out there.
He was the eccentric warden.
I fucking love Natural Born Killers. That is such a great film.
Well, how do you not love Woody Harrelson?
Oh, I know. And What's Her Face is okay. You know what's crazy is that. So, okay, let's go in here. So
same with Harrison Ford. Like he's in that 1923,
right?
And I don't know if anybody has watched Yellowstone, which I'm a huge fan of Yellowstone. But we watched 1883. I watched which had Blake Shelton. No,
Tim McGraw.
Tim McGraw and his wife there. I can't remember her name. And but then they released this 1923. And if you look on Rotten Tomatoes, I think it's pretty shit.
1923.
And I think, didn't
know that.
It's really boring.
Is it?
Yeah, like
okay. Well, it's got
it's
got a 90 on Rotten Tomatoes, but the audience score is only 73.
Yeah, so. I think it's gonna get better. I think it is, but Helen
I
Mirren
don't really
is
like Helen Mirren either.
well,
so-
Helen Mirren is British,
Right.
and she's
Oh.
playing off some sort of Irish accent.
Okay.
And Harrison Ford, who can't do an accent to save his life.
That's true.
So like they're supposed to be coming over, but why is she Irish and he's not?
So
and,
here's the thing.
like,
Even the
that-
promotional photo looks awkward as shit. Like they don't look in love. She looks like she's off, like looking at a new car.
well, how old's
and he's
Helen
like,
Mirren? She's gonna be 82, right?
Yeah, I think she is. Like it just doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't do it for me.
No,
So-
actually, from what I've read, a lot of reviews on it, it's not very,
Not great.
like
yeah.
it's boring, and I'm still gonna watch it because I'm committed. But so far, I haven't been too impressed with it. 1883 was really good.
Yeah. Well, it's got
Yeah.
Sam Elliott in it too, right? So-
Yeah, but I don't know. This 1923 doesn't. It's not as good as that one.
Just wanted to mention Natural Born Killers. 5 years between Christmas Vacation and Natural Born Killers, and Juliette Lewis goes from being the Griswold's little girl to being the sidekick to a serial killer or a serial killer herself, and she did well. I mean, she's not the greatest actress, but she's perfect in that role.
Actually, she hasn't done a lot, but I think she's in that Yellow Jackets now, and she looks.
Christina
awful.
Ricci's in that too, and they all.
Yeah, but Christina Ricci at least she she carries herself better. But Juliette Lewis looks like honestly like a junkie that just
she
come off
does.
of
I
a
know,
binge
and
or
part of
something.
that's she just doesn't look good. You know,
No,
so.
she doesn't. She hasn't aged very well.
Well, Mrs. Cook, do you want to wind this episode down?
Sure.
We've been 90 minutes. It's been good. We give them an hour of Last of Us, and then we a half hour of freestyling on movie stuff.
And it's been a long day.
I know. I can tell you're beat. I'm beat too. So we're gonna get up and do some painting tomorrow. Eventually, maybe by noon or
don't
something.
be Dion.
So. Whatever.
It's
Don't
been
worry
a long
about
day.
it. So, guys, this has been fun. I know I've mentioned it, but this Friday thing is going to spin into its. Well, I don't even know how to put it, but it's still always going to be Friday. It's always going to be part of the Workshop podcast, but it's also going to be its own feed eventually. I've been working on getting the YouTube channel up and running. It's going to be called the Workshop Wasteland, where we talk about popular culture, post-apocalyptic fiction, stuff like that.
And as things go on too, I'll have Fridays off.
Yes.
So,
and we're gonna start doing maybe not watch parties, but you and I are gonna watch some really shitty movies, and then we're gonna talk about them. It's gonna be fun. And I also, for those
are not shitty like that one you made me watch. You just made me watch that shitty one the other night.
All my friends hate me. That wasn't too bad, but
Yes,
it was your idea to watch Skinamarink, which I was like, you're not gonna like this, honey.
No,
you're not gonna like it.
10 minutes in.
I don't even know if you made it 10 minutes in.
Well, and then you made me watch that stupid clown movie.
Oh, I liked that one. The Terrifier 2, that was okay. I mean, it had good practical effects, but anyway. So
his famous words, I read about this one. Everyone says this one's good, and then he turns it on, and they are like the worst movies you'll ever watch.
I can't help that you don't have good taste.
No,
whatever.
There's no taste there. They are shit movies. And I don't know who you say writes this stuff, but I think you make it up.
I told you wouldn't like Skinamarink. I knew you wouldn't, and I don't think I would have liked it. I don't think I could have sat down for an hour.
I was just curious about it because I've seen it in my Facebook feed, so I thought maybe, maybe it's a new horror movie. But your line is, I read about this one. This one's supposed to be really good.
And I'm usually not wrong. So
you're always wrong, and they're always shit.
Here we go. Always busting my balls.
Always shit.
All right, guys, I'm going to shut her up now. So no,
it's true.
So yeah, we will. I will be back tomorrow evening. I've got an episode on the prepping lessons we've learned in the last 18 months. It's going to be fun. And then Sunday, do not forget, I've got it plastered all over social. It's the 4-hour second ever edition of the Workshop Radio. We're doing 4 hours from 3 till 7. We got 11 different content creators because I couldn't fit it all in one time. We got Jack Spirko, John Willis, Paul Wheaton, and a whole bunch more. It's going to be fun. We're going to live host. Nicole and I are going to do live segments in between each. Oh, there go the dogs. We're going to do live segments. So make sure you tune in. At least turn it on, leave it on in the background, and get shit done while we do the Workshop Radio thing. I'm looking forward to it. So, as always, stay happy, stay healthy, and have a great week.
You're not going to win, Toolman.